Hi everyone, Wendy here from the Indigo Doors, sharing with you this month's messages from the universe. Marches comes in pretty strongly. I mean, you guys can feel it. It's a really intense energy. It's good and it's weird, and it is bringing up a lot of stuff for a lot of people. So in that way, I guess you get to choose your perspective, right? Um, but the message that Spirit really wanted to share, and this is brief, and for those of you that have subscribed to the Quantum Power deck, you obviously get a copy of this card with the messages in the back, and obviously a very expanded version of the messages. So this is just kind of a little touch and go, but so if you want the full thing, you can click on the link and order that as well. Just throwing it out there. But this month's message is pretty... it's calm and it's peaceful. Obviously, you can feel that in the painting itself. It's pretty specific in what they want us to know. It's very clear, meaning very direct, very specific. And in that way, I love the message. So the fox represents kind of this cunningness, and in that way is this mental agility. And so it's not as what it seems to be, because in this way you would almost think, okay, we need to focus on our belief systems and our thoughts. And yes, we do. But in this way, they want us to separate from that space. They really want us to move away from the thinking space. So it's almost counterintuitive, or even stop listening to these messages in a way where you go within and you check in with yourself and you really start cultivating a spiritual practice that is all about you. How are you feeling today? What's showing up for you? Where are you at emotionally? And cultivating a connection with spirit that's uniquely yours, and one that honors the self, and you're no longer getting it outside of yourself. So in this way, really separating from this bedrock of old habits, and probably not what we want to hear, because it's so nice to get it outside of ourselves, and we don't know what we don't know. And so it's definitely okay to ask for help. It is, though, detrimental into your own spiritual growth. And as we continue to awaken, is to practice cultivating how you feel and how you see things, and how, spirit's talking to you personally. So in this breaking away from the land, that's, you can see this fox here is floating, right? It's jarring in a way. It's unsettling. It does feel like things are not secure mentally, really, because spiritually we're actually creating a new foundation. So it is just acknowledging that for this part of the being, and it's the mind, the fox, that's going to have the hardest time with this process. And so it's really learning how to be agile and cunning in the midst of change. And that's not an easy task. In that way, we're being asked to separate from our minds, cultivating a connection more with our hearts and how we feel. And in that space, it might not be very safe, because maybe you have a lot of fear here in the heart space, things that need to be reconciled, because the fear exists within you. If you've ever read the Four Agreements, they talk about that. The fear exists within you. It's not actually happening outside of you. It exists within you. So you kind of learn how to love and conquer, I guess, in a way, but not really conquer. Learn how to love the fear. Learn how to have it be your best friend, so it can kind of calm down the loudness of it, the overwhelmingness of it, by instead of trying to push it away and act like it's an enemy, bring it closer to you and, put your arm around it. That's what we're being asked to do. Let's put our arms around our fear. It exists within you. Even if you think that you could control something outside of yourself, like if this person got away, or if you could just do this, or it's the world, or it's politics, or it's these countries, or whatever it is, it really does exist within you. All spiritual practices have kind of resulted in that wisdom and knowing that it does begin with the self. So this month's messages is all about kind of taking responsibility for that and understanding that these are thoughts. And this part of our being should not be in charge anymore. Like the to-do list, the task list, it's different. A new paradigm means uncomfortable. And it's not in the thinking space. It's in the being space. It's in the feeling space. So, it's getting comfortable with this uncomfortableness and in practicing this feeling space. We cannot run from it or think that we can think our ways out of it or control our ways out of it But you can see there's so much magic. If we can learn to let go, right? If we can learn to let go and we can actually see and feel that there's so much magic going on. You can see here on the left side how there is a sun and a moon kind of eclipsing each other. And it is this masculine and femininity learning how to dance together again instead of it becoming separate. And they're starting to overlap. And a lot of channels that have brought in messages are talking about the masculine and the feminine and the earth energy starting to really come into balance. And so we're seeing so many storms, and so many like erratic weather patterns. And some will say that that's just global warming. But in the grander scope of things, like in the last for thousands of years, we're talking about 50,000 years, I would argue that maybe this is just a natural patterning that's emerging. Some say that this is a mini ice age. So, and in that mini ice age, we would experience extreme weather pattern changes and things. But you have to figure out what feels right for you, right? That aligns with the frequency of love and light for you. Fear only lies. So if it's fear, if there's fear in there somewhere, I would question whether or not it's being sneaky just to get you to stay in that fear. Anyways, and I want you to be aware of, like in the left here of this painting, this is our past, and there's no stars over here. So in some ways it's really dark right now, and as we separate. And it might seem it's like we're only aware of our fear, we're only aware of the conflict, or this polarization between these two sun and moons. And as we move, though, remembering that there's a whole universe of magic and mystery and so much more. And the fox is here to help. Beautiful, beautiful fox. And the fox is orange, right? So it's all about using your creativity, sexuality, joy, right? Following that, right? So that's kind of it in a nutshell. If you'd like the full version, because there's much more messages here in regards to the tail and being and all sorts of different things, feel free to subscribe, and sending love to everybody. I hope you have a beautiful rest of March and a beautiful rest of the day. Bye.